Hello, my name is Bruce Knutson, and I am the King County Director of Juvenile Court Services. In the following video, we would like to introduce law enforcement to additional resources available for assisting families with youth in need of services and describe how these resources can assist officers when coming into contact with juvenile offenders and their families. The Youth Service Center has specific criteria that a juvenile must meet before a police officer can have them booked into detention. In many instances, when a juvenile does not meet their criteria, they are still in need of assistance and a place to go. In many cases, there is not a parent or guardian available to take custody of the youth from the arresting officer. Usually the next alternative would be to see if the youth would qualify to be placed in a secure crisis residential center or Spruce Street. If the youth does not meet their criteria, then many times officers must detain the youth until a parent or guardian can be located. In King County, there are several additional services available to assist both officers and youth. Services such as the Children's Crisis Outreach Response System, or COURS, is designed to meet specific needs of youth who are in crisis and transition them into other community support systems. Police can put a youth in touch with Youth Care, which is a youth shelter that provides meals, housing, street outreach, education, and employment training. Another resource is the Family Reconciliation Services, which is a service that provides short-term family counseling, referral for substance abuse and mental health services, short-term out-of-home placement, and family assessments. In addition, the Step Up program is a domestic violence counseling program for teens that have been violent with family members.
Hello, my name is Katie Forbes. I am the Juvenile Probation Supervisor in the Screening Unit for the King County Youth Service Center, located in Seattle, Washington. The King County Youth Service Center was built in 1952. Since 1998, there have been approximately 51,000 youth admitted into the detention center. The Youth Service Center can house up to 200 youth at a time. On average, our daily population ranges from 80 to 90 inmates, with approximately 40 more youth on electronic home monitoring. Police officers must call the King County Juvenile Probation Screening Unit at 206-205-9595 for authorization prior to transporting a youth to the detention center. When a police officer calls the Youth Service Center to screen a new referral, the intake screener uses the detention intake criteria to determine if the youth is eligible to be detained. This criteria was developed to safely and effectively reduce the detention population. In order for a youth to be accepted into the Youth Service Center, he or she must fall under any of the following criteria. 1, when the youth has committed an alleged new offense that would be classified as a serious felony, including offenses involving the possession of a firearm. 2, when a youth ages 16 or older is presented on a domestic violence charge. Or 3, when any youth is alleged to have committed an assault on a school staff person, administrator, or teacher. In 2008, the criteria for mandatory detention on all domestic violence matters was amended. Youth who are under the age of 16 are no longer automatically accepted into detention for domestic violence arrest. However, there are overrides that can be screened with the intake screener in these situations. Exceptions could be made if the youth's behavior demonstrates an imminent threat to others, if the youth is involved in a volatile or escalating situation, or if the youth has committed significant property damage. Juveniles will also be accepted into detention if they have an active warrant, a current pending matter with the court, have been previously released from detention within the last 30 days, or have been found guilty of any felony within the previous 3 months. In addition, youth can be detained on administrative holds. These could include court holds from other jurisdictions, immigration holds, youth who are in transit from other detention facilities, or on parole from the Juvenile Rehabilitation Administration. Youth can also be detained if their identification is uncertain. Be advised that children under the age of 8 years old will not be detained. There are also several additional circumstances in which an override to the criteria could be granted. Examples of these would be if the youth is believed to be a danger to themselves for mental and/or substance abuse reasons, if there is shown to be an imminent threat to others by the youth, if the youth is in a volatile and escalating situation that is likely to result in physical harm to another or significant damage to property, if there is a legitimate fear of harm to the youth from others within the community, if the release of the youth is likely to interfere with the administration of justice by demonstrating a serious intent to intimidate a witness, or that he or she is likely to destroy evidence, or if the youth is likely to fail to appear for further proceedings. While youth are detained in our facility, they attend an on-site school program run by the Seattle Public Schools. They have access to basketball courts, an outdoor atrium, AA and NA meetings, an in-house library with internet access, and various other special events. The Youth Detention Center requests that officers please do not advise parents or guardians that the youth will be available to be picked up from the detention facility immediately. Any youth that meets the detention criteria will not be released until there is a judicial review on the following day.
Hi, my name is Maggie Faust, Director of Spruce Street Inn. In 1995, the legislature established the Becca Bill, named after a 13-year-old runaway who was murdered on the streets of Spokane in 1993. This bill sought to create facilities where runaway teens could be detained up to 5 days, while efforts to reunite youth with their families or a suitable placement could be procured. In August of 2000, the Spruce Street Secure Crisis Residential Center was one of the facilities that were appropriated funds to execute this action.
Spruce Street program provides a secure, short-term, non-institutional, temporary residence along with support services for youth aged 12 to 17. Youth can access these services via law enforcement only in cases where a run or active missing persons report has been filed on the youth, a curfew violation has occurred, or a youth is found in dangerous circumstances as defined by a law enforcement officer. Spruce Street's ultimate goal is to reunite the youth with their parents or primary caregivers whenever possible. This is accomplished through intensive case management, advocacy, and family mediation efforts.
In order for a youth to be accepted into Spruce Street, they must fall under one or more of the following criteria. The juvenile has an active run or missing persons report filed against them. The juvenile is considered to be in dangerous circumstances defined by a police officer, or if there is no parent or guardian available to take the youth.
In addition, the youth cannot have any active warrants. If the youth is in need of immediate psychiatric or medical attention, they are to be taken to the appropriate hospital. However, minor medical needs can be addressed at Spruce Street.
Services offered by Spruce Street include case management, culturally relevant intake assessments, daily groups, multidisciplinary team meetings, and the Bridges program.
Case management includes an appointed residential counselor and a staff case manager who team up with the youth and their family, along with the Department of Children and Family Services, in order to link the youth and family to voluntary counseling services, also an at-risk youth or child needing service petition, and other available resources within their community. A culturally relevant intake assessment is an approach that allows the youth and their family the opportunity to experience support mechanisms that are reflective of their culture.
Through our daily groups, each youth is encouraged to participate in 5 different activities, which include social, educational, therapeutic, nutritional, and exercise classes. Multidisciplinary team meetings are held so that each youth and their family have the opportunity to participate in a structured mediation during the youth stay at Spruce Street. It uses a collaboration of family, school, community, mental health care providers, probation officers, chemical dependency specialists, or any other formal or informal support to prepare the family and the youth to remain intact. The Bridges program provides a supportive environment that facilitates the reunification of adolescents with their families by assisting them in making lasting connections to community-based agencies and provide ongoing advocacy and education so families learn how to navigate the public and private health care system.
Services provided by the Bridges program include long-term case management services that are driven by the youth, connection to community services and activities, educational support which includes reconnecting youth to school or credit retrieval programs, chemical and mental health screening and referrals, and educational consultation. Participation with this program is voluntary, and youth who reside in King County become eligible for participation upon placement in the Spruce Street Crisis Residential Center.
For more information, please call 206-587-0992.
Hello, my name is Susan McLaughlin, and I am the Children's Mental Health Planner for the King County Mental Health, Chemical Abuse, and Dependency Services Division. The King County Mental Health, Chemical Abuse, and Dependency Services Division is responsible for providing crisis services to all citizens in King County through the Regional Support Network. In 2005, the Children's Crisis Outreach Response System, or CORS for short, was designed to better meet the specific crisis needs of children and youth across King County. The goal was to create a single, integrated, comprehensive system of crisis outreach response, stabilization intervention, and transition into other community supports. The Children's Crisis Outreach Response System came about because many youth enter the child-serving systems while they are in crisis. Research shows that children and adolescents have the greatest opportunity for normal, healthy development when ties to community and family are maintained, and when services are provided in the least restrictive setting possible. In addition, services are most successful when they are individualized to the unique needs of each family, when they are coordinated with other child-serving systems, and when they are provided in partnership with the family and the youth. CORS serves over 900 children, youth, and families every year.
Children's Crisis Outreach Response System provides urgent and comprehensive crisis support. This includes linkage to long-term support services for children, youth, and their families in the King County area in order to help families achieve stability and prevent future crisis. CORS builds on the families and the youth's strengths to provide creative and flexible solutions that focus on teaching and modeling parenting and problem-solving skills in order to manage behavior and to avoid out-of-home placement. Our goals are to prevent crises from reoccurring and to promote ongoing family success. We serve youth ages 3 through 17, and all of our services are provided free of charge.
If eligible, a CORS outreach team will be dispatched to respond to the scene anywhere within King County limits. CORS will respond to homes, schools, hospitals, or any other location where the child is within the King County limits. The outreach team will stay at the scene as long as they are needed to stabilize the crisis situation. Referrals and linkage to community-based mental health agencies, peer support groups, and family services programs are a part of our commitment to continued care. We can also assist in navigating public and private systems and educate and advocate for children and youth on issues such as education, juvenile justice, and specialized treatment needs. CORS can also assist in finding short-term alternative places for youth to stay, such as a family friend, extended family, neighbors, or any other appropriate location when the level of conflict or escalation does not allow for the youth to stay at home. There are also short-term crisis stabilization beds available in licensed therapeutic foster homes for youth who cannot be immediately and safely maintained within their home. Youth can stay on a voluntary basis for 72 hours, but could remain there for up to 15 days if needed. CORS services include mobile crisis outreach, non-emergent outreach appointments, and crisis stabilization services. Mobile crisis outreach is for families who are experiencing an immediate mental health crisis. CORS responds 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We can quickly respond to the scene of the crisis to deliver a variety of de-escalation interventions and assess for priority needs, including mental status exams, suicide risk assessments, and links to other community resources. If the problem is severe, CORS will assist with hospital authorization and facilitate admission for either voluntary or involuntary care. The goal is immediate crisis response and de-escalation to maintain stability within the home environment. Non-emergent outreach appointments include the same services that are offered during a mobile crisis outreach, but occur when the crisis behavior can be safely maintained in the home until the time an appointment can be made, which usually occurs within 48 hours of the initial call. Crisis stabilization services are based on the family's needs. CORS provides intensive in-home stabilization working with families and youth on skill-building skills such as emotion regulation, conflict resolution, and communication skills. CORS also has psychiatric services available and can assist with making appointments, starting up medications, and completing evaluations. We believe that parental support is integral to family success, so peer-to-peer support is provided for parents, as well as linkage to additional support services. Depending on the nature of the crisis and the needs of the family, CORS can continue to work with a family for up to 90 days following the initial acute crisis.
Families often call 911 when their child's behavior is dangerous or out of control due to an emotional, behavioral, or substance abuse problem because they are unsure what else it is that they can do. CORS is a brief, intensive crisis stabilization program that can provide effective, immediate assistance to stabilize the crisis and keep families together. Anyone can call the crisis clinic to receive outreach assistance. We strongly encourage parents and youth to call the crisis clinic themselves. However, officers responding to a call for services where there is family conflict or where an emotional, behavioral, or substance abuse problem is suspected can call the crisis clinic directly at 206-461-3222 to find out whether CORS might be an appropriate referral for the family.
Hello, my name is Leslie Briner, and I'm the Associate Director of Residential Programs for Youth Care. Youth Care was founded in 1974. It was the first shelter for homeless youth in the western United States and has since served over 65,000 youth. Beginning as a 3-bed shelter for runaways, Youth Care has grown and expanded to become a community-based agency with 6 sites serving the greater Seattle area. In 2010 alone, more than 4,500 homeless youth accessed our services. There are approximately 700 to 1,000 young people in the Seattle-King County area that have no safe place to sleep tonight. On average, teens are homeless for nearly 7 months before receiving stable housing and services. The longer youth stay on the streets, the harder it is for them to exit the street life permanently. There are many reasons why youth can end up on the streets. The vast majority are there because of physical and sexual abuse suffered within the home. Others are rejected by their families for their sexual preferences, and many come from homes whose parents have had problems with drugs or alcohol. Some youth even leave because their parents simply cannot afford to keep them. To avoid walking into the path that leads to adult chronic homelessness, these young people need what any young person needs: education, training, care, guidance, affection, respect, and a roof over their head. From food and shelter to employment and education, Youth Care provides services that can turn a kid sleeping in a doorway into an independent and stable citizen. In May of 2010, Youth Care expanded its services to the commercially sexually exploited youth of King County by creating the Bridge program. This program offers emergency shelter, long-term residential recovery services, community-based advocacy, and case management. The average age for a youth entering prostitution in the United States is between 12 and 14 years old. 90% of the youth who have been commercially sexually exploited have had some history of abuse, neglect, or sexual trauma. It is believed that there are approximately 150,000 to 350,000 youth in the United States who are victims of this exploitation. It was determined in the Seattle area alone there are approximately 300 to 500 youth who are exploited each year. Commercially sexually exploited youth ages 12 to 17 who are in need of short-term emergency shelter may be referred to Youth Care's shelter program, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In this unique, undisclosed, secure residential setting, the Bridge program provides youth with comprehensive services, including mental health counseling, chemical dependency counseling, intensive case management, life skills training, education, employment readiness, and other youth-focused activities. These and our other services are offered through the Orion Center, located in downtown Seattle, which is a licensed emergency shelter for youth ages 18 to 22 years old. The Orion Center offers a safe, open place where any youth in need of assistance can access a multitude of services, from meals to case management. The Orion Center services include a drop-in center with showers, hygiene supplies, clothing, laundry, and meals. They also offer education opportunities and employment training. Youth Care is a self-referral program. Law enforcement officers cannot place a youth in the shelter without a youth's consent, but could inform the youth of their options and put them on the phone with Youth Care to refer themselves. Police officers and youth can call Youth Care at 1-800-495-1000 7802, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to speak with an advocate. Advocates are even available to meet officers and youth in the field if needed.
Hello, my name is Aaron Washington, and I'm a Regional Program Consultant with the Division of Children and Family Services. Family Reconciliation Services is a voluntary program serving runaway adolescents and youth who are in conflict with their families. The program targets adolescents between the ages of 12 through 17 by helping them and their families deal with problems such as running away, not following reasonable family rules, or other serious problems that exist between parents and their child. Any family who is having serious conflicts, any parent whose child has run away, or any runaway youth may ask for assistance from FRS. Family reconciliation services are intended to keep the family together, resolve crisis situations, and prevent unnecessary out-of-home placement. Our goal is to return the family to a pre-crisis state and to work with the family to identify alternative methods of handling similar conflicts. Our services are designed to be short-term. If longer-term service needs are identified, then FRS will help facilitate getting the youth and his or her family into those services. Family reconciliation services include short-term family counseling, crisis residential center services, referrals for substance abuse and mental health services, short-term out-of-home placement, and family assessments. In the Juvenile Justice Act of 1977, the legislature declared that the family is the fundamental resource of American life, which should be nurtured and remain intact in absence of compelling evidence to the contrary. In 1990, the legislature amended the act to include an at-risk youth petition, and in 1995, the legislature added the Children in Need of Services petition. An at-risk youth petition allows custodial parents to ask for the juvenile court's help in keeping their adolescent at home and setting reasonable conditions that the youth must follow, such as going to school, following family rules, or attending counseling sessions. If the youth disobeys a court order, the youth may be held in contempt of court and placed in a detention facility for up to 7 days. Parents requesting an ARY petition continue to keep legal custody of the youth. The primary purpose of a parent or guardian to file an ARY petition is to obtain assistance and support from the juvenile court in maintaining the care, custody, and control of the child, and to assist with the resolution of family conflict. An ARY can be filed after all other alternatives to court intervention have been attempted, such as family counseling. The criteria for filing an ARY petition are when any child under the age of 18 meets at least one of 3 requirements. The youth is absent from home or at least 72 consecutive hours without parental consent. The youth is beyond parental control such that his or her behavior endangers the health, safety, or welfare of the child or any other person, or the youth has a substance abuse problem for which there are no pending criminal charges relating to that abuse. Only the parent of the child may file the ARY petition. However, a parent must first complete a family assessment with the local Division of Children and Family Services office prior to filing the at-risk youth petition. A parent may also request a dismissal of the petition at any time. When counseling, living with relatives, or any other similar efforts has failed to resolve conflicts within the family, and the youth's parents want the youth placed outside the home, the youth or parent may be able to file a Child in Need of Services petition, or CHINS. The primary purpose of a CHINS petition is to obtain a court order mandating placement of a child in a residence other than the home of his or her parent. This is usually because a serious conflict exists that cannot be resolved by the delivery of additional services to the family, and reasonable efforts have been made to prevent the removal of the child from the parental home. The criteria for filing a CHINS petition are when any child under the age of 18 meets at least one of 3 requirements. The youth is beyond parental control such that the child's behavior endangers the health, safety, or welfare of the child or another person. The youth has been reported to law enforcement as absent from home without consent for at least 24 consecutive hours on 2 or more separate occasions, or the youth is in need of necessary services including food, shelter, health care, clothing, or education and lacks access to these services, or whose parents are unable or unwilling to continue efforts to maintain the family structure. A child, parent, or DSHS representative may file for a CHINS petition. Upon filing of the petition, the child may be placed into a crisis residential center, foster family home, licensed group home facility, or any other suitable residence to be determined by DSHS. To request family reconciliation services, please call 1-800-609-8764 for an appointment.
The Step Up program was developed in 1997 in response to the high number of cases in the juvenile court system where youth were arrested for assaulting their parents. Prior to Step Up, there was no specialized intervention for youth who are violent within the home.
Step Up is a nationally recognized domestic violence counseling program for teens that have been violent with family members. Violent behavior includes threats, intimidation, property destruction, degrading language, and physical violence. Studies have shown a significant reduction in the use of violent and abusive behavior in youth who have completed the Step Up program. To date, Step Up has served over 6,000 families since the program's inception. The main goal of Step Up is to stop the cycle of family violence. We aim to help youth stop using violent behavior and to replace abusiveness with respect so that all family members feel safe at home. Domestic violence can begin in the teen years with the abuse of family members and continue into adult relationships. Changing violent and abusive behavior during adolescence helps prevent continuing the cycle of violence.
Step Up has two programs for youth ages 13 to 17. Those programs include counseling for youth and their parents and safety planning for families of youth who are currently in detention before the youth is released to come home.
Step Up Group Counseling is a unique 21-session skills-based curriculum conducted in a group setting with the youth and their parents. Teens and parents come to group once a week for 90 minutes at a time. Teens work in a youth group to learn skills to prevent the use of violent and abusive behavior and replace it with respectful behavior. Parents attend a parent group where they learn safety planning and parenting skills to support their youth in using nonviolent behavior. Together, parents and teens learn to practice skills for respectful communication and problem solving. Some parents are physically afraid for themselves or other family members to have their youth return home from detention where they have been arrested for violence against a family member. In 2006, at the request of King County Juvenile Court, Step Up developed a safety plan project.
The Safety Plan Intervention Program includes an assessment of the family's safety concerns, the teaching of safety skills to both youth and parents, assisting parents with developing a step-by-step safety plan to prevent the use of violence and abuse in the home, and to safely reduce the risk of harm to another family member. By the time a youth is released from detention, they will have a written safety plan agreement signed by both the youth and the parent.
Youth are referred to Step Up at the juvenile court system, other community agencies, and police officers. Youth can also be self-referred and do not have to be involved with the court in order to come to the program. If parents of non-court involved youth have difficulty getting their youth to go to counseling, an at-risk youth petition may be a way that they can have their youth court-ordered to do so. Police officers at the scene of an incident can refer parents to call Step Up for help with their violent teen. Step Up can do safety planning over the phone, talk to them about the safest way to respond when their teen starts escalating, and give information about the Step Up program. A family can usually begin the program within 1 or 2 weeks of the initial call, but Step Up can meet with the parent and teen to do a safety plan within 2 or 3 days.
Step Up is only open during regular business hours, but if a police officer needs to make a referral at night, they can let the parent know to call Step Up and leave a message. A Step Up representative will return their call the following day. Police officers and families can call Step Up at 206-296-7841 to get information and support or to schedule an appointment. The Step Up program is a free service to all families in King County.
Included with this video is a pocket reference card for officers that detail these services along with their intake criteria and contact information. There is also a brochure that can be handed out to youth and their families in the field who are in need of these services. For access to these materials, please contact your individual agencies for supplies. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please call Marcus Stubblefield at 206-205-9445 for more information.